It was a warm summer afternoon in a small town in the southern United States. The kind of day where the heat ripples off the asphalt and life moves just a little slower. The local diner's parking lot was bustling with activity as bikers on shiny motorcycles gathered their leather jackets and loud engines drew attention. They laughed loudly, talked in groups, and turned the quiet town into a scene from a movie. Among the crowd, Marcus parked his modest black SUV. In a corner of the lot, Marcus was a tall, well-built black man with a calm demeanor and a quiet confidence. He was dressed casually in a plain gray t-shirt and jeans, which made him seem like just another passerby. Marcus wasn't one to attract unnecessary attention, but his presence naturally commanded respect. What no one could see was that Marcus was a retired Navy SAALA man who had spent years training for and surviving situations most people couldn't even imagine. As Marcus stepped out of his car to grab a drink from the diner, a group of bikers took notice. The leader of the group, a burly man with a thick beard and a Confederate flag patch on his jacket, nudged one of his friends and nodded in Marcus's direction. They whispered among themselves, their laughter carrying a sharp edge of mockery. Marcus caught their stares, but kept his head high. He walked into the diner, ordered a bottle of water, and made his way back out. The bikers had moved closer, their voices louder now, as they exchanged crude remarks and racial slurs meant to provoke Marcus. "Hey boy, where you think you're going?" one of them called out. The others laughed, watching for Marcus's reaction. Marcus stopped for a moment, his jaw tightened, and his eyes briefly scanned the group. He had faced worse situations overseas than this small-town display of ignorance, but here on home soil, it hit differently. It wasn't fear he felt, but a profound sadness and an obligation to show them a different kind of strength. He took a deep breath and turned toward them. "I'm going about my day," he said evenly, his voice calm but firm, "just like you should be." His response was met with a mixture of laughter and irritation. The leader stepped forward, trying to assert dominance. "You think you're tough or something?" he sneered. "This ain't your place." Marcus didn't flinch. His years of training had taught him how to handle threats with precision, both physical and psychological. He looked the man straight in the eye. "You don't know me," he said, "and you don't want to find out who I am." The leader's face darkened, but he wasn't ready to back down. He stepped closer, trying to intimidate Marcus, or what? He challenged the rest of the bikers, cheered him on, unaware that Marcus wasn't an ordinary man. It was in this moment that Marcus decided to stand his ground without violence or aggression, but with the kind of authority that only a Navy SEAL could command. "Let me give you some advice," Marcus said, his voice steady and measured. "You never know who you're messing with. It's easy to judge someone by how they look, but that can get you into trouble." The leader's bravado faltered as Marcus took a single step forward, his presence towering and unshakable. "I've seen more in my life than you can imagine," Marcus continued, "and I've fought for the freedom that lets you stand here and act like this, so think carefully about your next move." There was a heavy silence as the weight of Marcus's words settled over the group. The leader looked around at his friends, who were now less certain about their cheers. The atmosphere shifted from hostile to tense, and then to something resembling respect. One of the younger bikers broke the silence. "Hey man, we didn't mean anything by it," he mumbled. Looking at the ground, the leader hesitated, then took a step back, grumbling something under his breath before turning to his bike. The rest of the group followed suit, their aggression dissipating as quickly as it had flared up. Marcus watched them leave with a mixture of relief and sadness. He hadn't wanted a confrontation, but he knew that standing firm in the face of prejudice was sometimes necessary. He turned back to his SUV, ready to continue his day, but not before an elderly man approached him from the diner. "Son, that was something else," the man said, his voice trembling with emotion. "Thank you for handling that the way you did." Marcus nodded humbly. "Just doing what I've always done," he replied as he got into his car and drove away, leaving behind a story that would linger in the small town as a reminder of courage, dignity, and the quiet strength of a man who knew his worth without having to prove it.